Your IRA can own real estate? Yeah, we've seen clients structure deals to acquire properties that you probably haven't even thought of. Think of yourself as the hard money lender, the bank. When someone needs money, your retirement account can fund that.
Yeah, and this is a strategy I've had several clients do. I can guarantee 9 out of 10 of you listeners have not heard of this strategy.
5 strategies you should be using with an IRA.
But we got to get off the table first. Asset classes are not strategies.
Yeah, like a buy and hold long-term rental is not a strategy. That's an asset. You're owning this property, buy and hold. But we want to talk about the acquisition strategy to get that property maybe, or some of the deals you can do around it from your IRA. So that's first, and that's even like the first deal I ever did with my own retirement account, was just buying a buy and hold rental.
Yeah, I love it. So some of these, I'll just rattle off a few. Short-term rental, long-term rental, commercial property.
Fix and flips.
Fix and flip. Those are acquisitions in the real estate lane, but they're not the strategy to get that asset. And that's oftentimes the hurdle. We see something we want, we just don't know how to get it.
Let me explain what we're talking about here. When we say the acquisition strategy is, well, I just have, $300,000 in my account, in my IRA account, and I'm going to buy a $300,000 property. Okay, your acquisition strategy is just to use the cash in your account to go buy that, which is one strategy, and that's cool. It's not a creative one.
Yeah.
But we want to go over some creative strategies that many of you might have thought, oh, I can't use my IRA for that, because you weren't thinking of the creative strategies in real estate.
A creative strategy would be, I'm going to buy 2 properties of $300,000 each, and I'm going to get, let's say, seller financing. I'm going to put down $150,000 and have the seller carry the paper on the $150,000. And now I can buy 2 properties, still cash flow, get a better ROI in the long run, and have more leverage for more equity build. And that's creative.
I love that. That was a great example right out of the gate. And let's say that the seller won't negotiate seller financing. Well, what can you do? You could get a new bank loan even, all right? There are non-recourse lenders that will lend your IRA money to buy real estate, particularly on a buy and hold property. I've done that. That was the first deal I did. I just had a bank lend me money on that property. So
that's funny, because the first one I did was a seller finance.
Yeah.
And the first one you did was more of
got a bank.
A non-recourse loan.
Now, there's rules on this, of course. When you're getting debt, whether it's seller financing or you're getting a new loan, you can't personally guarantee the debt. And we've got a lot of other podcasts and videos about self-directed IRA rules and prohibited transactions, but just know that's a rule whenever you're getting debt on a deal, whether it's seller financing or a new loan. Don't personally guarantee it, okay? That'll violate the rules.
Yeah, now staying in the same genre of financing, there's also a third option, and that's buying a property subject to. I'm not going to ask the seller for financing. I'm not going to go get a new non-recourse loan when we have lenders lined up for you to choose from if you'd like. But there may already be a loan on the property, and the seller's like, I got to get out of this thing. If you'll just assume the current mortgage, and it's got to be that non-recourse format. You can't go sign on it personally. But there might be a property with lending already on it, and you can buy the property subject to that loan.
Yeah.
And that's another way to get your IRA in a deal when it may not have enough money due to cash flow.
Yeah, and this is when we've seen a lot of clients get into with a lot of hardly any money down. They could be putting maybe $5,000, $10,000 down. Maybe there's some improvement costs or some things that need to improve the property before it's rent ready. But they're coming out of pocket a lot less. So some people might be doing a deal for $25,000 or less, where they're acquiring the property subject to. Another thing we've seen on some of these, and an incentive for this in acquiring the property subject to, is a lot of people are trying to sell a home and they got some value they can't get out of it, but it's got an incredible rate on it. It's at a 2.5% or 3% mortgage rate. Being able to acquire that property subject to that mortgage makes it a very valuable property in terms of a rental, because now your cost to hold it are very low. You can get better cash flow on it. So this is one where we've seen a lot of savvy real estate investors use it. Of course, you can use the subject to strategy outside of a retirement account, but also you can use it with your IRA. Go buy that deal, get that property. It takes probably a little bit of money down, maybe some money to improve it, but you just take over the existing mortgage. It's called a subject to strategy.
Okay, number 2 is wholesaling. It's that same $300,000 property, but you only have $30,000 in your IRA. And you're like, man, that is an awesome property, $300,000. I can't buy it with cash. I don't have enough money to get lending. I'm going to just tie it up. I'm going to make an offer that I'm going to buy it for $300,000 with a $30,000 down earnest money agreement, but I can assign the contract because I think it's worth $350,000. and I can go shop it and sell that. Maybe make sure your earnest money is refundable if you can't shop it in time. But that's called wholesaling, where I'm going to tie up a property and pretty much flip the contract or the opportunity to buy it for $300. We've had clients make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and it could even be a $5,000 amount that you do need to pay something from the IRA to tie it up, right? There's some legalities to that. But now if that property is worth $330 and there's other investors that would want to buy it, if you're able to find the deals, and this is where, again, if real estate's what you know, and some of you already do wholesaling, by the way. I know some of you already do wholesaling that are listening to this. They're like, guys, I know the strategy. You didn't explain it very well. I'm like, yeah, but do it with your IRA. Why would I do that with my IRA? Well, let's do a Roth IRA, okay? Let's say your Roth IRA puts $5,000 down on this wholesaling deal. And let's say you make 20 grand on that. That 20 grand goes back into your Roth IRA, no tax, and coming out totally tax-free at retirement. If you do that wholesaling deal outside your IRA, it's going on your 1040, ordinary income, all right? It's gonna be at your regular rates, plus state tax. A lot of times these strategies, if you couple it with the self-directed retirement account, it becomes a really good tax play.
Oh, you put it on steroids.
Yeah, and wholesaling would be one. There's another version of wholesaling that is like real estate developers use, which are options, where they'll get land under option contracts, do some pre-development work, and then they'll sell it for a big premium. We've had clients make over $1 million selling options with their Roth IRA, where that value that they can create on it, either through a hold period or some paper development type stuff, can have $1 million plus return back into the Roth IRA, no tax. Now, you could have done that option deal outside of your retirement account, but you would have paid Uncle Sam and your state, these silent partners that want a piece, But if you want to keep it all, I'm just saying, use the Roth IRA.
I love it. All right. That's strategy 2. Do you want to throw down 3?
Yeah. I like 3. This is what I do the most, and this is being the lender on deals. Think of yourself as the hard money lender, the bank, the mob, whoever. When someone needs money,
wow,
your retirement account can fund that.
Yeah, we're promoting mob strategies here. So
I'm just thinking,
charge exorbitant interest. I know Matt.
Every good mafia movie,
some might call it criminal,
with the mob has somebody that lent money and they got behind, and someone's getting their knee broken.
That's a part of every mob show. You're right.
I'm just trying to relate,
Yeah. So, and this is again a very common strategy in real estate industry, but people don't realize my IRA could be doing that same deal. And if you're doing 12 and 2, that's a 12% annual interest rate and 2 points. And if you can flip that loan twice a year, doing short-term loans for real estate developers or
flippers or any real estate investor that needs capital. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now, and I know you guys have done some private money lending too. It's just a good way to get a good return on your retirement account, right? If I'm getting 12% plus 2 points on 6-month loans, I get the 2 points twice a year. That's 4 plus 12. That's 16% annual rate of return. Now you get a lien on the property, right? So
first trustee.
Right, first trustee. You might be in second if there's enough equity in the deal. You want to be careful. Don't do bad loans to people that don't know what they're doing or properties that don't have equity, right? That's a great strategy where you can access deals, but you don't have to run the deal. You don't have to be like the person that finds that wholesale deal or that option property that negotiates that subject to or seller financing deal. This is a little more of a passive play, but it's creative in the sense that you're using your retirement account. And I remember I talked to one client, he's got a 7-figure plus account. And when he heard about real estate investing, he was a real estate investor. He just got so hung up on all the tax things. He's like, I don't want to own real estate. He's like, I'm just going to do private lending. And I remember him talking about that because he did private lending personally. And he's like, Matt, when I lend money private, it's interest income to me. I'm at a 30% federal tax bracket. I'm at like 8% in my state. When I make $100,000 on lending my personal money, I really only made $55,000 because of my federal and state taxes that eat up into that. Once I learned I could do this with my retirement account and I make $100,000 in interest, I kept $100,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's been insane the amount of compounding growth. If I look at my bucket of money that I lent, that I've always been lending for, and I've been lending on a longer period of time, but on my taxable money that hits my 1040 versus my bucket of money in my retirement account that I lent out, and he has a Roth, that I get to keep every penny. He's like, it's insane how much this one has compounded more over the last 15 years he's been doing it.
Yeah, you had me at Roth. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, now number 4. And this is a strategy I've had several clients do throughout my career. I've seen it. I would like to see it more. I think it's a really cool strategy. I can guarantee 9 out of 10 of you listeners have not heard of this strategy. And I call it the Roth Dream Home Takeover. It is looking down the road 5 to 10 years and saying, that's where I want to live. That's where I want my dream home. I'm going to retire at 59 and a half later, and I want to be in Boca Raton. I want to be in Aspen. I want to be in this beautiful area. But holy crap, 10 years from now, anything I want now is going to be twice as much then. And how am I going to afford it? It's not going to happen. And so you have this dream location, this dream property that you want to be at when you retire. How you get there? Well, I've had several clients find that property now when a deal comes, because they can't move now, but the opportunity comes. So they're ready and they buy the property in their Roth IRA with maybe the subject to strategy, the seller financing strategy, the non-recourse loan strategy, whatever. But they find this property and they buy in the name of their Roth IRA. Okay. Can you move into it right now? No, that would be a prohibited transaction. You can't live in your IRA's property. But they buy it now, and then they take all the cash flow from that. They short-term rental it, they long-term rental it. They know they're going to be there someday and they want to do a rehab. They're so excited when they could go in and put in their own furniture and paint and new carpet. But for now, it's just going to be a rental property, but it's the place they want to be. And they let the Roth IRA own it and take all the cash flow and pay off that mortgage as fast as they can. 59 and a half comes along, 60, 62, whatever, and that time comes to load up the U-Haul and go. You can call up Directed IRA and go, will you just deed me that property? Tax-free, no tax at all. All the equity growth, all that cash flow paying down the mortgage, any equity in that, the Roth IRA value itself goes to you tax-free, no penalty, nothing. And if there's still a mortgage on it, fine, pick up the mortgage. You can go in and rehab it, make it fresh for you. So you're locking down in advance the property you want to live in down the road and letting your Roth IRA hold it for you. And you're going to take it over when the time's right.
Love it. Now, pen drop. Yeah. I love that. That's, as you explained it right there, is the way to do it. Now, keep in mind, when that asset is coming out after 59 and a half, there's a reason Mark said that. That's when you can take money out of your Roth IRA or assets tax-free. So here, we're not selling the property and taking cash out. You want to use the property. You like the property. That was the reason you bought it. That was one of the vision you had in the future. So what we do is we get an appraisal of the property to set the value, and then that value is distributed out to you. Now, the key thing Mark used was a Roth IRA, because when we're distributing that Roth IRA asset out to you, there's no tax on it. But I'll give you an example. I had a client who called me up, and he had bought this property. It was in Florida. I don't remember where. It was not Del Boca Vista, it was not, you know. Right. But Morty Seinfeld wasn't involved or anywhere, you know. But
little Cadillac and golf cart. Okay.
But he did buy. I remember when he told me. He said, "I bought this in my IRA," and he's wanted to now move into it. And he said, "I bought this in this area because I had stayed there with friends that had a place in the same place, and my wife and I fell in love with it. We saw the real estate going off the charts here. We thought, let's go buy one.
Let's lock it in.
Let's lock it in." And he said, "I just did it with my IRA," and he had it actually as a short-term rental. Okay, now he wasn't using it, all right, but they had that vision you were talking about of, man, when we quit the day job, we want to come down here with where our friends are at already. Living how we want to live at Del Boca Vista, all right? Playing cards with Morty Seinfeld, you know?
How would it be?
You know? Now, here was the snag. He had a traditional IRA. Oh. Okay, this was done as a traditional account. And so it was interesting because that property was actually doing pretty well as a rental. He was actually making good cash flow. So we weighed the pros and cons of him distributing it out. What was it worth now? It had gone up in value. It was cash flowing great as a rental. And what he actually decided to do was just to buy another property in the same development personally, because that property was performing well in terms of cash flow and it's still growing. And he didn't want to take the hit for the traditional. So the key was, if you feel like that play is going to be that area or place where you want to be in 5, 10, whatever that window is appreciating, it's going to be a hot market, you definitely want to use the Roth IRA so it comes out tax-free.
Yeah, and here's the workaround, everybody. Do the chunk. Take the Roth conversion early on, because you could get an appraisal. This couple could have been back when they first bought it and they knew it was going to highly appreciate.
Yeah.
Get a valuation with an appraiser. Tell them, I want the lowest possible value, which is not what appraisers are typically told. And say, I want the lowest value.
You can justify
Roth conversion that you can stand behind. And then Roth conversion. So rip the Band-Aid off back then, pay the tax on that property value, then in that 5 to 10 year runway, they pull the trigger.
Exactly.
And,
Yep.
No tax. Fun strategy. Okay, number 5.
All right, let's talk about partnering.
Yeah, partnering.
I think this is a really popular one. As a lawyer, I probably set up over 1,000 LLCs with someone's IRA in the LLC as a partner. There's a lot of variations of how this could look. This could be a combination of IRAs partnered together in an LLC. This could be your IRA, your spouse's IRA, your kid's Roth IRA, your health savings account, all into one LLC going to do a real estate deal, whatever that asset class is in the real estate space. Maybe it's a storage facility, maybe you're flipping a property, any of this other stuff we've talked about.
Yeah.
Another variation could be, and we've seen this one quite a bit, is maybe your IRA is like the cash partner in a deal, and there's some other investor who's like the work partner, and you have a split percentage of ownership.
And a credit partner.
Yeah, you could even have a credit partner in the mix too, if needed in the deal. And we could go on with different iterations of that, and maybe you would like to, but that's I was going to say there's a lot of variations of how that could look.
And we got some great podcasts set on, folks. If that's already entertaining to you, get over and check out those podcasts on the IRA LLC. And the one I like there the most is a college savings type angle. You're doing real estate, you're in the real estate realm, you're like, oh, I can do this. And they do have children that are 5, 10, 15 years old. You know they're going to college in 5 to 10 years. You're like, but you don't think and say, you know what? I can put their covered IRA in this mix. Just throwing $2,000 in their covered IRA or a couple grand for double up a couple years if you can. Get your kids' Roth IRA going even. And so now you're using a strategy for some exit on this property 5, 10 years from now when your kids are going to college and their covered IRA could come out tax-free for college, and it's just a 1% owner. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's base hits.
Yeah. Base hits win games.
Yep. All right, now I'm going to throw in a bonus. I got a bonus.
Oh, all right. I'm
So we
curious
got our
what this
5,
is. All
and
right.
there's a bonus. This is arguably an asset class,
Okay.
but it's also a strategy. I'm covering it up. So you can't see
I
it.
saw it already.
I think tax liens are an option.
Okay.
It's kind of a wholesaling type deal. It's using leverage in a creative way. So for those that don't know, people default on their property taxes all the time. And these properties are listed for sale. There's a whole process for this. There's a whole industry for this. But I think as a strategy, your IRA that may not have a lot of value yet, and you're trying to get some traction to do some bigger deals, we have clients that have made millions over their career using their IRAs to tie up tax liens and then sit on it, resell it, have them default, pick up the property for the value of the tax lien. There's all these different techniques involved. But I don't know. Could that be considered a bonus? Will you give it bonus status?
I give that bonus status. We didn't talk about that one, but that's a good one. We even had at our self-directed IRA summit we did in North Carolina, we had one of the investors there who used his Roth IRA to get a tax lien on a property right across the street from Augusta, Georgia. Remember this?
Oh, yes, that's right.
Wasn't that where the Masters is?
Yeah, the golf course in Augusta.
Yeah, and had over $1 million return on it. And in that episode, he went over how he did it. Yeah. And he's a tax lien investor. I mean, that's what this guy does. He does tax lien deals all the time, where you go buy. When someone doesn't pay their property taxes, the cities and counties will go sell the property tax that's owed. And so you can buy that and pay off the city basically, and you take that lien right. Well, and this is all different between the states, but if that owner of that property doesn't resolve that with you and pay you back within a certain period of time, you can basically foreclose and take the property. Yeah. And so there's a lot of people that just invest in tax liens, frankly, hoping that people aren't going to pay them off. And if they do, they have to pay back with interest. So you get some protection there. Yeah. But in this one, he found a really sweet deal. And when he found that really sweet deal, he's like, I'm using my Roth IRA for this. Because not only am I going to make money on this deal, I'm going to keep it all. So this, again, the real estate investors, I know many of you might be listening that are like, guys, I know real estate investing, and you guys,
are idiots.
Yeah. Talking about these strategies. Like this
like
is
we know what we're talking about.
This is a little 101. I know, but just think about using your Roth for it. Okay. That's where we've seen, honestly, my clients that have over 100 million in a Roth IRA, there's a few, they're all real estate investors, all of them, but they do it outside their retirement account. When they see a home run deal or where they're really trying to compound over time, they're using particularly their Roth account.
Okay, I have one more bonus. I didn't write it down because I didn't want you to see it. You'll cheat. Okay, you ready? This bonus you're going to love.
Double bonus.
Double bonus.
Okay, all right.
If you find this fascinating at all and are like, I love creative deals, we need you at the Alt Asset Summit. It is later this month. And
October 16th and 17th.
It's going to
Scottsdale, Arizona.
And you can hang out with creative people that are thinking about this every day and in their sleep, losing sleep at night because they are looking for creative deals in their IRAs. So the Alt Asset Summit is where you need to be. Who doesn't want to be in Scottsdale in October? I mean, that's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's the best time, yeah.
It is. So it's going to be beautiful. You can get to altassetsummit.com. Please check it out. You can also watch it online. We've got probably 15 different speakers we're going to parade through.
Yeah,
here.
incredible list of speakers. So you can learn about stuff from storage. We talked about that.
Yes.
We've got commercial real estate, multifamily, people
Syndications.
converting, different syndication. We got oil and gas, a couple different speakers on oil and gas. We have precious metals. We'll be talking about crypto, private equity, venture capital. I mean, pretty much any asset class that you can invest in. Besides the stock market, we feel like there's plenty of events and stuff you can learn about investing in the stock market, not our jam. All these different alternative assets that you can actually own with an IRA as well, we'll be talking about. And the best thing too is and talk to people who are already doing that, learn from them what they've learned. Because in any asset class, you can make a bad investment and a dumb investment. So being able to network with those other investors and being there in person is super valuable.
They blaze the trail. Did I get bonus status on that one?
That was triple bonus.
Oh,
I'll give you a double bonus on that.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for being here today. Another amazing Directed IRA podcast helping you build your wealth, invest in what you know, and people continue to, what's our dream on, live on?
Stay calm, self-direct on.
Okay. I like that.
Dream on is like a Guns N' Roses song or something. Dream on, dream on.
No,
that's not Guns N' Roses.
No, that's Rolling Stones.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. What we're saying is stay calm, self-direct on.
Hold it before we say goodbye. Aerosmith. We just had a correction in the studio.
We are committed to providing accurate information on this podcast. Aerosmith.
Only. Yeah, correct information for self-directing only. Anyway, clean that up. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.